Well, hello to everybody again. Today is finally we're going to start planting in the my version of the above ground garden. Every single box is a little worm bin in itself. This is something that I started doing last year. Again, if you haven't seen any of my other videos, John Color at Growing Your Own Greens, he was doing a whole above ground garden movable, because I bought my house last year. I want to find out where things are going to sit best, and what he was using were crates that you can put together. And then he did a version on the earth barrel where right in the center is a complete worm system. So then your worm casting, worm leaching is going straight into your root system. And I thought, what a great idea to, in every box, folded up crate. They're all unfolded. So these all fold up. And then I cut a bunch of PVC pipe. Of course, I grabbed the one without holes. And then there's holes all through that. And each bin, straight down the center, you can have a plant on either side. My composting worms are going in here, and each box is going to have a whole living system. What I'm also going to do is I'm just going to show you one small batch of my dirt, because really this year I'm going to be going through 50-60 bags, and that would just be a way too long of a video. I am doing a lot with the coconut coir, but this is 2 bushes. I've already got one over there. Excuse me. The one thing that I do differently is you've got to add water to it to activate it. And coconut coir is inert. It doesn't have any nutrients, anything for it. It's a growing medium. So what I started doing again last year. I've been growing for 18 years, but it's the last 5 or 6 years that I've actually just gone organic. What I do is I use a worm and compost tea straight into my coconut coir to help it expand. That way it's not just getting water. I also add pure compost, so as that's sucking everything in, it's picking it up. To be honest with you, it probably doesn't make a huge amount of difference, because the coconut coir is being added to so many other stuff for my soil. But every little thing helps, everything counts. So it's just an extra step I do, and I've got to make the compost tea anyways, so I might as well, with the leftover, use it for that. What I'm going to do is take a quick walk around with you, show you all the different things I put in. Now, mainly your 3 main things, of course, are going to be a soil, a compost, either sand, vermiculite, something to help with the drainage and water retention. But then everything else is a little extra. Whatever I have, like this year when I ended up buying so much dirt that they offered me a free deal on a certain thing. So I ended up getting some sheep compost, some cow manure. My parents, for their garden, they ended up buying a lot of these nincompoop, it's called. It's a really excellent nutrient-rich garden blend. They bought a certain amount, so they ended up with a free bag. I ended up with that free bag, so that's going to be going in. All the leftover potting mix, whatnot, from the winter when I started seeding, I'm going to put that in, because anything that's, I don't want to call it a fake dirt, but anything that is a peat moss composition, you basically want to use it that year. I don't use peat moss. I have no problem if it comes in a product that I end up getting, but I use the coconut coir as opposed to going out and picking up peat moss, just for the fact that it's renewable, it's easier. We're not digging up the Canadian peat moss bogs, shipping it everywhere. They ship it wet, that way it bulks up, it looks like a lot more, so all the oil, everything to ship that, whereas coconut coir, it's renewable, plus it's gets so dehydrated. This, as I said, I've taken one barrel out, so this is like 2 wheelbarrows right there. Yeah, so I'm just going to show you a couple of things that I use. Another amazing thing here, Canada. It's called the Volcanic Mineral Plus. In the States, most of the rest of the world, rock dust. This bag here, I couldn't tell you how many cases of eggs this is. Blend half of it and just crush up the other half. That way I've got some fast release, slow release on that. I work in the hotel restaurant industry, so I get so much of that. That's why I end up with, I've got 4 composters this year, because the amount of stuff that I get, the coffee grounds, any vegetable peelings, any veg that's starting to go bad, it doesn't make it to the dumpster. I bring it home in buckets, I throw it in there. That's fine. Also use in my mix a lot of bone meal. This one will be done today with my planting. That's going to be a lot. And then the organic choice plant food. And then I'll walk around too. We'll show up things closer. That I put into my mixture. And then when I plant, each of my seedlings that are going to go ground, MicroRaisa, it gets a little paintbrushing of each on each root. That's going in there. Epsom salts. This I really don't put in the earth, but I do give it a good misting and a good spraying as soon as they're planted. And I always do, because the rain barrel can't really keep up. I've got my Boogie Blue that goes on my hose if ever I have to use my house tap water. It's just a dechlorinator. Spend all this time starting to try to grow the beneficials, and then you sit there and dumping in a bunch of chlorine water. Not the best thing for it, to be honest with you. Okay, I'm huffing and puffing here because even though I just sat down, I've been setting up my garden now for like 4 hours, and I still haven't any dirt mixed, still don't have anything in. But yeah, I'll take a quick walk around and see what we've got here. So I've got coconut coir here, just waiting for the water. I've got a couple buckets on the side because when this starts to expand, it's going to be much bigger than the container it's in. I've got just a little bit of compost. That's going straight in there. I don't know if you can see on here, but this compost is just excellent. It's as dark as it can be. There is so much vegetable and fruit matter on that. This is where I'm going to be setting my garden, and I've left spaces here so I can get in once the peppers grow, so I can walk between the rows and pick and cut. And again, these are all my pipes that I've cut up, and they're just going to go in. They're going to go in the center of each. They've got the holes, the worms can go in and out as they please. Either side of that, I'm going to be having a plant. The table over here, that's where I've got all my seedlings ready to go. I'm going to have another of those 9 crates, so I'll have another 18 peppers on there. What I do, the bottom of each crate, I just lane with some shredded paper. That helps the dirt from running out. Also helps a little bit with holding in a lot of water. Not a lot, but water. Got just the cheap $1 topsoil. That's by getting so much of that, I ended up getting the free bags of the triple blend. I use a lot of vermiculite. And believe me, off to the side I've got bags and bags of stuff. This is just 1 bag of each to show. This potting mix, that was just left over from my seedings. I've got a couple bags of those. Those are going to go in. Again, the organic choice. That's plant food. Epsom salt, Boogie Blue. There's MicroRaisa. And we got the Volcanic Mineral Plus, eggshells, bone meal. That's the nincompoop. That's a 60-liter bag. That's big. We got the sheep manure. It's compost with leaf trimmings and yard compost and the manure. So that's what we're gonna do. Let's see. We'll get the coconut coir going, and then I'll start mixing. So I'm gonna grab that compost that I showed you earlier. That's going just in and around the coconut. I'm gonna keep this. That'll go in my mixture also. It's just my worm castings and the compost. And it's amazing how much water this can suck up. It's going to get massively huge. That's going to sit for a half hour. I'm going to start mixing some of my soil, and we'll get planting. And to you, it'll be very quick. To me, because when I show you my mix, it's just going to be 1 small bucket, whereas I've got to tarp out this whole area to get enough soil to get going. Okay, just going to get 1 batch so I can get at least one of these planted for the video. What I've got here is just my compost that I'm making. Got some of the triple blend. That's going to be going in. Every stage of the way, make sure you give it a good mix. If not, you'll end up with different layers. The bottom of my compost pile every year, because I'm going to be digging down. This is very, very clay soil here. So I end up with a bit of clay. But honest with you, clay is packed with nutrients. You just can't get to it. So if you have clay and you're mixing stuff to bring it alive, clay does not have to be a bad thing whatsoever. Clay, because it doesn't release its nutrients very well. It's packed with nutrients because it's never been taken out. Just got the plain topsoil. This again really doesn't have too much in it. It's just for something the roots to grab on. And this is for containing gardening. If you're going to be planting in the ground and you have an established area, all you really need to do is add some compost. If it's very clay, coconut coir is great, and mix that all up. But because I'm doing containing gardening, the only nutrients it can get is the nutrients that you're putting in the soil. So you have to be the one to add it. A little bit of steer manure, not a lot, but this size, I'm just slightly over a cup. I would have used maybe 3 cups, but I'm using steer and sheep. And again, make sure you mix at every stage. This is organic fertilizer, just, I would say about, I work in the restaurant industry, so I'm thinking, I would say like 2 ounces, 2 shot glasses full. Because once your worm bin is up and running and your worms are doing its thing, you don't need any fertilizer. So this is just to get everything established. I've got bone meal. A very, very good handful. Because that wasn't, I'm going to go 2. I better get the mix. Vermiculite. Try not to breathe too heavy. It's about 1.5 cups. And we got eggshells. These bags are actually come in for bread, so they're breathable. That's why I have it bag within bag within bag. Really don't like something like eggshells being completely airtight, because if you have any liquid left, which I don't, I mean, I keep my eggshells on top of a pizza oven constantly. Keep it dry. Keep it warm. Cook it off. That way, I'm going to kill any bacteria. I'm going to make sure everything is dry. And I'm just going to go and grab some of my coconut coir over here that's slowly sucking everything up. Okay, the reason why I keep looking off to the side is because I've been hearing some strange noise over there. I didn't know what it was. And I've just noticed that one of my cats has either broken through a screen or opened the window by the screen. Monkey, what are you doing? Oh, you ripped right through the screen. Thanks, Monkey. First day of summer, and I've got a big hole in my screen. Well, that's what you get for having pets. The good and the bad. Hate to admit it, but this is just more coconut coir. I kind of find it funny because Monkey has been in every one of my videos. She just walks by, she does everything. I've got 2 dogs, 3 cats, a bunch of fish. And for the first time, because every other one is set in the winter while I'm seeding and got my grow room. For the first time, I'm outside. I think there might be a video with her. Just pass by, see what I'm doing. And she decides to rip through a screen, get outside. She might not come over because she knows she's not allowed outside, so she thinks if she comes sees me, she'll get kicked out. I'll pick her up, put her back in, but my hands are too dirty to pick her up. Come here, Monkey. Monk. Come here, bud. I've got everything over there that you saw in the earlier part of the video. She's sniffing everything. And it's another thing that I've explained in some of my other videos. I said when you're working with bone meal, be very, very careful with your animals. They don't know. They think it's a crushed up bone for them, and they will get into everything you can do. After one of my videos, even though I warned everybody about that, one of my dogs ripped in, took the lid off, and I had bone meal all over the floor. Of course, sick all over the floor because the amount that the dog had eaten. Okay, so this is the mix. Good to go on that. I topped with the rock dust. Again, try not to breathe too heavy on this. And I will also layer on top of when I'm done of pure compost. That gets the bacteria all going up top, and more of the rock dust. I'll just mix it in the top, and that'll get it going. Let's see the first one, yeah. Okay. There you go, Muck. Come here. You in the video, bud? So, shredded paper. That's just going to line the bottom of my box. Could have laid down carpet underneath or something to stop the weeds going through. But to be honest with you, a little bit of paper, shredded of course so that water can still escape. These cases have holes around the side because they're actually for romaine hearts, so you don't want to keep the vegetables without airflow. So let's do that. Pick up my little worm bin. These boxes take about 2.5 buckets. You don't need to see me make it 2.5 buckets. Again, as you're pouring in different areas. And that way, anything that wasn't mixed perfectly, you can mix it as you're doing it. There. You want to leave about an inch of the soil on top of your paper for your worm tube. And that's it. I'm going to do the whole mix, everything, and then I'll top this up and I'll show you just how to plant the one, and then I'll go from there and plant the rest. Okay, see you back shortly. Okay, so I've got my box full. A couple things I haven't done is, I told you before, I want to top pure compost, a little bit of the rock dust, and vermiculite. I also do put as I do in everything, bone meal. And that way, as it runs down, it runs. One thing I don't put in though on the top is coconut coir, because the coconut holds so much water. That's what it's there for your roots. And if you have that on your top layer, it's gonna, if you have a light rain, all it's gonna do is hold that water. It's never gonna make it down to your root system. So you don't want the coconut coir right on your top layer. Keep that for your roots. A little bit of the rock dust. I do put kind of the opposite of the coconut. I put the rock dust on top, bring it in that way. Every time it rains, it's just slowly working its way down to the root system. There's already enough at the root system to start. This is to get it going. When I plant, I'm always going to take off just 1 or 2 leaves on the bottom, because these have been indoors. Yes, I've had a fan on them, but it's still not the same as outside. If you want to, just take a look at the root system. You want to plant a little bit deeper so that way roots can come out and down, and you won't have such a top heavy plant. You've seen before, I've topped most of my plants. The ones that were like the 2nd or 3rd seeding, I haven't topped because I'd rather have 20 or 30 peppers off a plant than none. But by topping, I'm forcing extra growth, and then that way I can have my 100, 200, sometimes 300. Yeah, I just thought I had everything ready, but can't find my little paintbrush. I put MicroRaisa on every root base before it goes down. Best way to do it is, as I did, is you got yourself a paintbrush, brush it on your root base before it goes down into the hole. But all my junk around here, I've misplaced it. You want the leaves off on the bottom. If you keep them on and just plant the leaves in, roots will start to grow, but what will happen is before the roots grow, that leaf has to die. And then once the root the leaf dies, once those leaves die, then the root will start to grow. By cutting off the leaves that you're going to be planting below ground, you saved yourself that much. This is MicroRaisa. I'm just going to put a little in the base. And when I pull this out, I'm going to give it a little sprinkling. For the rest of them, I'm going to track down my paintbrush, because it's a lot easier just dipping into your paint. I'm actually quite surprised that I've got a little bit of root balm down on the bottom, but along the sides I planted these very earlier. I figured I would have myself a problem being a little root round, because we're a week behind growing here in Canada. This should have been here last weekend, but what was happening is the days were fine. Just pushing down just a little, not forcing. The days were fine, but the nights, the one night dropped down to -4 degrees, and that's just, sorry, not -4 degrees, and that's just really cold for a pepper. Yes, they might survive it, but they'll go dormant, and it'll take a good 3-4 days to for that plant to bounce back. What I was doing is bringing them in every night, taking them out every day. And a good thing to do with those is we don't have them at work, but right next door to where I work is a pizzeria, and they got those 8 packs to hold your pops. I don't know if they're 1 liters or 2 liters. Some countries, I guess, call them sodas, we call them pop. And the 16-ounce solo cups work perfect. So I could put 8 in each one. They have their own little area to stand. And that way, instead of carrying 1 or 2 at a time, or trays at a time, which I find does quite often buckle on you and fall apart, this way you can grab 8 at a time. Make sure, of course, sorry, old knees going. When mine are little seedlings, I just use these little dirt ones, or wood ones. But what I do like outside is I'm going to label every one on the plastic sticks, because when I'm seeding, if I have 175 little seeds, I don't want to be using these. The wood sticks, they're cheap. You get a pack of 250, that's fine. But once they go outside, I'm going to be either giving away, basically I'm only going to be planting the best of the best, because even though I planted this year 176 plants, I'm running 40 of these boxes on here and over on the table. So I'm only growing 80 plants. So that way, that's 40 of these sticks. That's fine. And I'll put the 2 together. I don't mind cross-pollination for myself, because I am just a hobby grower. But I love if I get cross-pollination. Last year I had 2 crosses. I had a ghost and I had a habanero that crossed with scorpions. Don't know which, because I grow a couple different scorpions. But this year I'm really looking forward to seeing if those peppers continue on in a cross, or most likely they'll revert back. But cross-pollination to me is actually quite a fun and enjoyable thing. So here I've got 2 reapers in. I'm going to plant the rest. This is my little worm bin here. So this, we're putting down a cup of composting worms. If you have dirt in the bottom of a bucket when you empty it, it's not a big deal. But when you're working with something like composting worms, make sure you get every little bit of that, because you could have so many little worms starting in there, worm sacks. Get them going. What I'm going to do, topping them up with the extra mix I had. Not a lot, this is just to keep it warm, because I don't want to feed them for a day or 2. I'm going to let them sit. This is compost. They've got something to nibble on. But if I give them a huge feed right now, they might all of a sudden find out that that's where they want to live full time. And what I want is the worms to go in and out of those holes. So that way, yes, they will leave, they'll come back, they'll leave, they'll come back. These all have holes through, so even though I'm putting one of these in every single one, they'll still be able to move around between others. Because basically I want them to move and poop on their way. I promised a young fellow on Reddit, Lizard King Death Wish, that I would give him 100 pods of ghost peppers this year. And I contacted him last night. So what I'm going to do, instead of just giving him 100, I'm going to pick out one of these when I plant them all, and I'm going to give him two ghost peppers. So if each plant has 70 pods, then he can have 140. If each plant has 30 pods on each, he can have 60. But throughout the videos, I'll be showing his 2 ghosts, so he can see how his 2 plants are going. And come mid to end August how many pods he's going to have. Okay, so I'm going to plant the end of this. Next video is probably going to go up tomorrow, because by the time I have everything planted, it's going to be too late. So yeah, this is how I do it. This is how it's going to be done. If you have any questions, please comment below. Please subscribe. And if you want to go back and see where all these seeds came from, because other than the Carolina Reaper, these are all my seeds from last year. So even though here I am planting, it all started last year, and the year before, and the year before, because I keep the seeds and I just keep going. As I said, the only new seeds I bought this year is the Reaper. I bought 10, I ended up with 12 seeds. Out of that, I only got 5, which honestly, very low germination for that, but not a huge fan or problem, because this year I'll have so many pods, it's going to be fine. Oh, hang on. I promised her. She just walked by. She got out. Hey, Monk. Say hi. This is the cat that just walks through every video I got. I could put her back inside, but she just go through that hole she produced. Okay, so I'll get these all planted. I'll get another video up tomorrow, and you can see the garden finished. Again, I think the best idea, really different here that I've been doing is having this worm bin in every single little box. And honestly, I give shout out to John Collar. I was throwing these away at work for so many years, and then to see him do this movable above ground system, I just thought was excellent. So everybody have a good day, and if you're interested, watch how these little guys go, or back up and watch how they all started in the little grow room and the windows, and have yourself a good day. Bye.